Okay, hi. My name is John Lenahan. This is for the class Analyzing and Interpreting the Bible. This is my exegetical presentation on the verse Philippians 4:13, which says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This verse has been misused and misquoted probably more than any other verse in the Bible. And it's usually by people thinking that it means, hey, I can do absolutely anything I want and Christ will strengthen me. As long as I'm believing in Christ, I could jump off this building and not get hurt. As long as I'm believing in Christ, even though I don't work out, I could bench press 315 pounds. And if I'm just believing in Christ, I can do it because He will strengthen me. That is completely taken out of context. This is not what Paul was saying here at all. Okay? So let's first take a look at the historical background. According to my Bible concordance out of the King James Bible, King James Study Bible, Paul was writing this from prison in Rome around 64 AD. So he was writing the audience, he was writing to believers in the city of Philippi. And like I said, he was in prison while he was writing this. Now, what's cool about this is this letter was a letter of commendation, a letter of love, a letter of warning against false prophets, and a letter of encouragement. Now, according to the International StandardBible.com, all the other epistles that Paul wrote had kind of mixed feelings, and when he was writing to the city of Philippi, it was like nobody was at fault. He really loved these people, so he wanted to encourage them, the best that he could. He had a lot of love for this church in the city. And so now that we know who was writing this epistle and the audience intended, now we can take a look at the passage in the actual context. So you got to look at the preceding verse. Okay, so in the preceding verses, we see Paul is giving thanks to God no matter what circumstances he's in. So in verse 12, Paul writes, "I know how to be abased and I know how to be abound." Okay, now according to Bible Hub Greek text analysis, abase comes from the Greek word tapenthosai. Hope I said that right. That meaning how to be brought low, how to be humbled. Okay, and the word abound from the word Perusian, which means to abound, to be up, to be doing good. Okay, so he's comparing here. This is a comparison. This is an observation, comparison of two things, a high and a low. Okay, then he also goes on to say that he knows how to be full and how to be hungry. Okay, again, he's comparing two things, two ends of the spectrum, and he's saying he knows how to rejoice in these circumstances. So whether he's, starving, he's good. Whether he's hungry, he's good. And the reason is, he says he has been instructed here. Okay? So he says, "Everywhere and in all things I am instructed to be both full and be hungry." So he's getting his instructions from the Lord, and that means he's doing God's work. Okay? So he has learned, as long as he's doing God's ministry, he could be hungry, he could be full, but he's happy, okay? Because these instructions, they come from God. And so that's when he says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Okay, that's the verse we're talking about. Now, Zondervan Academic says, in context, "I can do all things" means that's the ministry that God has sent Paul to do. He can do all things in that ministry. Okay? Gill's exposition says of the phrase "I could do all things" that it is not to be understood in the greatest latitude and without any limitation, for Paul is not omnipotent by himself or with Christ. Okay, so as you can see, Paul's not saying that he can do anything he wants. He's saying he can endure and rejoice in any situation because God gives him strength. And God has given him that strength because he is doing God's work. I hope you enjoyed this exegetical video. Thank you very much.